goes nowhere. Shoved backward by that Washington defense. Josh Allen in the first couple of games, you touched on the start. It's very early, but second in the MVP voting last year, accomplishing actually off of the last year. It was the best season by any Buffalo quarterback in history. That says a lot on a franchise and Jim Kelly.
Absolutely, and he's been trending year after year as an improving quarterback, and maybe just a little bit of a step back, not in his play, but statistically, I think the big concern for me looking at that is that 56% completion rate, and that goes to what Jen talked about, is taking what the defense is allowing to you, check it down, get some positive plays.
Well protected and through the hands of Singletary. All of a sudden, it's 3rd and 10 as we take a look at the starters here that you'll see throughout the day. And they added Cole Beasley, they added Stephon Diggs. Emmanuel Sanders, a key add to this offense now.
Yeah, now all those guys that you mentioned are skill players. Here's the key to today's game is this offensive line versus that Washington front that we touched on. You've got 4 first-round picks across the board up front. How do the edges, how do those offensive tackles hold up against Montez Sweat and Chase Young?
And here's a good test early on 3rd down and 10 from their own 25. Windy part of the field for Josh Allen. And it's Sanders jumping. Our referee, Tony Corrente.
Offense, number 1. 5-yard penalty remains 3rd down.
Sanders a little upset with himself. He's the oldest player on this Buffalo team and the only Bills player with a Super Bowl ring when he was a member of the Broncos and beat Ron Rivera in Carolina. So now 3rd and 15. Fake handoff, pressure coming. Allen fires, open, near the 40-yard line. It's Gabriel Davis for a first down.
And sometimes we think about Josh Allen as that running quarterback, but I think one of the things that I'm impressed by is his poise in the pocket. Jonathan Allen, number 94 right here, he's going to get the initial pressure. They've got great defensive tackles that can collapse. Look at the little slide, step up, very poised, delivers a nice ball right there for the first down.
I spoke to him on the field before the game, and this is the area of the field, Josh Allen said, between the 45 and going back where they started, where the wind is trouble because it's swirling one moment in your face, the next moment moving across your face, but that was a tight completion there as he is ready to throw again and on the run. He will keep and get near the sideline, staying in bounds. Landon Collins ran him down. A front 4 of Washington celebrated all first-round draft picks, including Chase Young. He said, we're going up against the Josh Allen show today.
Yeah, and it's going to be up to these guys up front. We mentioned the edge, but also very, very good inside. Jonathan Allen, number 93. Deron Payne, we've seen him a couple of times here already early, kind of flushing that pocket, collapsing that pocket.
From the 47-yard line, he picked up 4. Singletary remains the back. Cole Beasley, his arms in the air at the bottom of your screen where Diggs was, the other way. And to the 41 is Emmanuel Sanders.
You just kind of see right now if they can get into a rhythm. And one of the things that prohibits you as an offense from getting into a rhythm are penalties. And we had that to start the game. So now you had to kind of settle down that little altercation right there. So that's going to impact it as well. But maybe at the tail end of this opening possession, Josh Allen can get this offense into a rhythm.
Well, this is the direction where he said, I'm going to have to throw a tighter spiral and put a little more mustard on it, a little more behind the throws, and he has been crisp on those last 2 completions. And he's set to throw again, dumps it off. That's Diggs dancing, and Stephon Diggs inside the 30 of Washington. Good enough for a first down.
I like the play design by offensive coordinator Brian Daboll right now because he's giving Josh Allen some quick solutions because they have the respect for that front. You're going to watch. There's Stephon Diggs coming across from the outside. You see that little shell right there. That gives Josh Allen the opportunity to get rid of the ball if that protection breaks down a little bit against that front.
After that first pass went through the hands of Singletary, Allen has hit the next 3. Spotted at the 29 of Washington. Well protected. Allen looking to dump it short. And maybe a yard or 2 pickup to Tommy Sweeney the backup tight end. Well, in his 45th start, he surpassed 10,000 passing yards, and that deserves a wow. Fastest in Bills history. Jim Kelly up there, as we mentioned moments ago, and he did that last week down in Miami.
Yeah, when you start doing things in this franchise that hasn't been done since Jim Kelly, that's where some of those expectations come from, and the excitement of this fan base continues to grow.
And that's why Super Bowl talk is a reality. And again, not just here, around the league for this Bills team. Isaiah McKenzie in motion. Allen on the run for the end zone. Leaping in the end zone is Emmanuel Sanders, and that's going to be a Bills touchdown.
Sometimes on film, you just see some things by Josh Allen that you don't see from most quarterbacks around the NFL. And that's a great job by Emmanuel Sanders at the point of the catch. But I think it's important, and Coach Dabo mentioned this to us, sometimes I have to put on clips for Josh so he can see what he does, what he brings to the table. I think that highlight right there will be one of the ones he'll show him this week, because there's not a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that can do that.
That was a great picture of a great grab, and Sean McDermott confident in his quarterback. They just confirmed it, but that was a clean catch, and what a tremendous throw on the move.
You mentioned the wind, going this direction. This is the direction where you're going dead into the wind, so you add in all those variables, and it makes that throw even more impressive.
That big arm, he made it look easy. Tyler Bass for the extra point. An early 3rd and 15 conversion on this drive by Josh Allen to Emmanuel Sanders. And the Bills with a 7-0 first quarter lead. Drive took over just slightly over 4 minutes at a 28-yard touchdown toss into the wind from Josh Allen to Emmanuel Sanders. And for that Washington defense, 3rd straight opening drive that they've allowed a touchdown. And this is the 3rd game of the 2021 season. And the wind, if it keeps up, you're allowed to have someone hold it for you to kick. Tyler Bass, 2nd year from Georgia Southern, will get the assist from Dane Jackson. And back to return for Washington is DeAndre Carter. Played 8 offensive snaps in the first couple of games for Washington, both punt and kickoff duties. Still looking for his first NFL touchdown of any kind. He will have a chance from his own goal line. Carter straight ahead and tripped up across the 20-yard line. Last Thursday night, Taylor Heineke had a big night as he led the Washington football team in a terrific comeback against the Giants. Is he the next Kurt Warner? I don't know. This is his 4th NFL start and his first start on the road in the NFL. You can tell already they've worked on all kinds of things. The silent count because of this crowd. J.D. McKissick, the backup running back to Antonio Gibson, usually a 3rd down back, gets the first carry and a good, healthy gain as we check this offensive line of Washington.
And this is going to be kind of the same matchup that we'll watch as we did in the other side of the football, and it's going to be about this offensive line again. The one thing that the Buffalo Bills did after that loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game was go out and get some pass rushers on the edge. How did the tackles for the Washington football team hold up in their protection against the edge rushers from Buffalo?
Heineke from the pocket, catch made, but short of the 30-yard line, and shot backwards. It'll be 3rd and a couple. That's Terry McLaurin, 11 catches last week, a career best for him. And this Buffalo defense, like Washington, all 4 of the starters on the defensive line are first-round draft picks.
Yeah, that great group up front, just like the Washington football team. One of the guys you got to keep an eye on, Matt Milano, had a monster game last week against the Dolphins. Used him as a blitzer, was lined up on the outside, doing everything he can to help that Bills defense have a great day, post a shutout.
Heineke dumps it off. McLaurin up the sideline, out of bounds. There's a flag at the 31, but he got the first down with plenty more. We'll check that penalty.
Pass interference. Offense, number 41. 10-yard penalty and repeat, third down.
The call on 41, McKissick, the running back, who lined up as a receiver.
Yeah, he's just got to sell it a little bit more. There goes 41 across right here. You'll see him right as he comes in to make the crossing route. He's just got to sell it better. He does not need to engage Tremaine Edmonds at that point. Just make him run a bubble, run around.
Wiped out a 16-yard gain. Third and a dozen. Quick pass. Heineke dumps it off to Logan Thomas with a great effort and last surge towards the 30. It looks like he's going to be a little bit short, but that spot, yeah, they're marking him short, or at least saying it's fourth down. Boy, this is an early decision and test for Ron Rivera. And they're leaving Heineke out there at the moment, and the offense.
Yeah, I know you don't want to have a 3-and-out right after your opponent just went on a touchdown drive to start this game, and we've seen this up quite a bit this year through the first 2 weeks. The most attempts on fourth down than we've seen in the last 30 years, but this is very risky by Ron Rivera.
Well, we also have a challenge flag thrown at the last moment from the Washington sideline. I think they're going to challenge the spot on this. And you're right about the fourth down.
Washington is challenging the ruling on the field of progress as related to a first down.
Tony Corrente explaining. They'll take a closer look and make a decision, getting help from the home office in New York. Tony Corrente has reviewed it.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It'll be fourth down and short. Washington will be charged with their first timeout.
Dean Blandino, our rules analyst, watching. Dean, we took some closer looks, and it looked like maybe he had it. What did you think?
Yeah, you're looking for a body part other than a hand or a foot to touch the ground. It looked like Logan Thomas's right knee hit the ground. Then where is the ball in relation to the line of gain? This is the best look. The line of gain's the 31. You can see the knee hit there. Ball appeared to be short.
Okay, thank you for clarification. Isaiah McKenzie runs into his own man after the boot by Tressway and is wrestled down back at the 20-yard line. Last chance to play the $1 million Fox Super 6 NFL contest. It's free and easy. Enter now. Correctly pick the outcome from 6 of today's games, and you'll have a chance to win $1 million. You can scan the QR code right now, download the app, and play for free. Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers, Jen Hales down on the field in a packed house, making a lot of noise here in Buffalo. Second possession for the Bills. And when they score first since 2018, only the Saints are better, coming up with a victory. Zach Moss at running back. Josh Allen to throw and completes. That's Diggs for a couple. Josh Allen said he felt comfortable about his decision making, even after a difficult opening game against the Steeler defense here in Orchard Park.
I think the big thing is they just got to get into sync, and this is going to be a big test for that offensive line. If they're performing well this afternoon against this Washington front, that's just going to help Josh Allen in his confidence with those guys. I think there was maybe that first week he kind of hinted at, I've got to trust my guys a little bit more. I think Pittsburgh kind of rattled them a little bit there in week 1 with the amount of pressure.
6 defensive backs in, so the handoff to Moss, and he gets up across the 30-31-yard line. The Bills Steelers have actually in the first couple of games run the ball very well, averaging 130 yards on the ground.
Yeah, that's the great thing. We're sitting here, we're being nitpicky, and the fan base is, hey, why aren't things like they were last year at the end of the season nice and smooth? But there's a lot of positives to build on it. And you have to remember, this is the month of September. We're only week 3 here. Every team in the NFL is starting to figure it out. It's a process. You go through those first 4 weeks of the season, and then you hope when you start that second 4 weeks, you start to grow and build off of what you did.
Isaiah McKenzie checks in. Quick pass. And there he goes for a first down across the 40. Sanders had the touchdown on the opening drive, but Isaiah McKenzie has been active for this Buffalo team as well.
I just like the game that Brian Daboll is calling right now. The ball is coming out quickly, and you're getting that front to pass rush, to expend energy, and then to turn and chase. And that's going to start to wear these guys down a little bit. So doing a nice job with the passing game, getting this Washington defense to run.
Allen is 7 out of 8 already, nearing the 90-yard mark. Moss comes down as a receiver, bottom of your screen from the backfield. Pressure coming. Allen steps up, wide open. Could he connect with Diggs? And incomplete inside the 25-yard line. And again, that's the wind area that we talked about, at least the direction going, as Chase Young put the heat on Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm going to say the wind and that Washington front, because when you talk about impacting the throw, that's exactly what that front 4 did. They impacted this throw, so you can see, Stephon Diggs was open down the field, but there's Josh Allen. He's got to elevate, leave his feet. He can make throws off of virtually any platform. He showed you that right there, but it's definitely going to impact the accuracy.
Yeah, Allen got a little bit higher in the air. His touchdown throw, a few of the others were more streamlined and a little bit lower to the ground as Allen will dump it off to Zach Moss. Gets a few blocks, working his way out of bounds around the 47, 48-yard line of Buffalo, bringing up a 3rd down. Offensive coordinator Brian Daboll, and you pointed out, I think it's a compliment to him and how creative he's been working with Josh Allen since he was drafted here. How Allen has improved each year, touchdowns, passing, completion percentage, yardage, whatever, and getting the team closer to the big prize.
Yeah, and the completion percentage again, last year 69%. That's off the charts for an offense that was also as explosive as Buffalo was. To have that high a percentage is a testament to quarterback and offensive coordinator being on the same page.
3rd down, plenty of time in the pocket, and a completion for a first down inside the 45 of Washington. That's Emmanuel Sanders. Daboll said, I wanted Josh Allen to have ownership of this offense. I think quarterback plays better when he has a hand in the making up of things. Yeah,
well, he even mentioned that, the unique relationship that exists between offensive coordinator, head coach, and even Brandon Beane, the GM. He's involved in a lot for a young quarterback, and he's earned that. I think they see his work ethic and his passion for the game and how much it means to him.
Spotted at the 43, Moss remains the back. Fake to him. Going deep, going for it all, and off the fingertips of Diggs. Boy, Josh Allen is not hesitating, throwing into the wind.
Yeah, I wish we could explain how difficult it is, where these flags are on the top of the goalpost, and everybody here booing. They really felt that Benjamin St. Juste got there a little bit early, wanting that pass interference call, but the throws in this direction, with the wind that he's going into, very impressive.
He thought he had a touchdown. Singletary back in on 2nd and 10. Allen complete, falling down is Cole Beasley, his first catch of the game at the 36, 3rd and 3. We showed you the lineups of the defensive front lines, the starting for both Buffalo and Washington. And this is the first time, at least that we know of in the modern era, because they don't go back far enough, where both teams started all first-round picks at the defensive line positions. Washington has yet to have, other than that one play you pointed out, a true impact on Josh Allen. 9 out of 12, over 100 yards. They need 3 with Moss. Allen fakes to him, and Josh gets to about the 35, shoved back. It'll be 4th down. Give the rookie Jamin Davis credit. First rounder out of Kentucky who made the play.
And it's going to be interesting to see how this win impacts decisions like this here. You know, maybe a spot that Coach Dable would go for this anyways, but I think it makes it a little bit easier today with the amount of wind he's got in his kicker's face.
2 out of 4 on 4th down tries this year. So they're passing up a 53-yard field goal, obviously with the win. And then Beasley in the backfield with Josh Allen. Just in time, the play clock pass caught, but Singletary got knocked back by Jamin Davis. I don't think he had enough of the forward progress for a first down, and he did not. What a defensive stop by the Washington football team on a 4th and short gamble by Buffalo. Well, a big defensive stop, an early tipping point for Washington, already trailing 7-0 to win, taking Buffalo out of a field goal try. Instead of running on 4th and short, 1.5 yards or 2, they tried on 3rd, they didn't make it. On 4th down pass, and a big play by the rookie linebacker for Washington, hands it over to Taylor Heineke from the 35, and he's set to throw, and he's going deep with the wind behind him, and the ball takes off. Incomplete for De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, let's go back to that play you're talking about, Chris, and take a look and show you what Jamin Davis did. He's right there. Now, the cool thing here, they're trying to do a run, right? They're kind of the same thing you see up here. You kind of get those wide receivers to kind of get in the way, get a block. Watch how he finds his way through there, gets through there clean. It's a little bit thrown behind. If maybe Josh Allen gets that out in front, you can kind of catch that and turn upfield. You might be able to get that first down. But a nice job by Jamin Davis, and that's where he's best at, out there in space and coverage.
Antonio Gibson will bring up 3rd and about 8. Taylor Heineke described offensive coordinator for Washington, Scott Turner, as an anticipation touch passer who throws a football that's easy to catch.
Yeah, I think we see that height, we see the stature of a quarterback, and all of a sudden we start to make assumptions. But Scott Turner, the offensive coordinator for Washington, says he's got everything. He's got some of those things that you can't coach up. That anticipation, the trust that he has with his receivers on the outside.
Only 6 feet tall. Heineke out of that crowd and completes. And for the first down is Logan Thomas fighting his way. Ball comes out, and the Bills have it. He was all the way to the 45 of Buffalo, and that last twist, and the ball came out, and the Bills are going to take over on the takeaway. Matt Milano recovered the football.
First down.
Great effort after the catch and carry by Thomas. Boyer spins out of that. Knocked out. Recovered by Buffalo. Tre'Davious White knocked the ball loose as Logan Thomas was going to the ground, and Milano, who forced a fumble last week against Miami, came up with this one. Bills take over at their own 47.5-yard line. Singletary, the running back for Josh Allen. Singletary will be thrown down inside the 45. Landon Collins coming up from his safety spot.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, Chris, great job by Tre'Davious White coming in and knocking that football out. We thought Logan Thomas might have had a knee down, but you can see right there it is out before that knee touches. But just a great job of coming in and punching it the way that every defensive coordinator teaches you to attack the football when that player's going down.
Can't help but think of Charles Tillman, the former Bear, and the peanut punch. You see that more and more. Teams showing that to defensive players as Singletary races to the 50. It'll be 3rd down. Cole Holcomb, who wears the green dot, linebacker for Washington, taking in the defensive signals.
And one of the things you can do when you've got an aggressive defensive front that likes to get up the field, some trap blocking right there. So nice job just changing up that scheme a little bit, getting out of the zone schemes that you see where you're just coming off the ball, trying to create leverage there and letting those guys come upfield and then coming from the backside and trapping them.
Right at midfield. 3rd and 8. were hoping to probably run to the end of the quarter going into the win. Plenty of time for Allen. Incomplete in the area of Diggs at the 40, and the flag flies. William Jackson over there in the coverage. We'll see, it's going to be on Buffalo.
Pass interference, defense, number 23. The ball replacing spot of the foul and an automatic first down.
That's William Jackson, the former Bengal, added this year to the defense of Washington.
Yeah, down at the bottom of your screen, just the reaction of the players. I really thought it was going to be on Stephon Diggs. You can see right there the arm as he pushes him past. I think William Jackson is completely shocked, and I got to say, I am too. That looked more like Stephon Diggs, and just the reaction of Stephon and the Bills' offense, I think they thought it was going to be against him as well.
Well, it looked like
Way too late. Come on now.
it looked like we had a little commentary from Tony Corrente. Looked like Jackson initiated it, and then Diggs afterwards. First down, the pass complete to Moss, who makes a nice move inside the 25 of Washington. Let's get a quick game break and say hi to Kurt Menefee. Hey, Kurt.
Well, hello, Chris. How about a quick score from the Saints? Jameis Winston for a wide open Alvin Kamara, 11 yards on that one, and just like that, they're up on top of New England 7-0 as they get down to the final seconds of the first quarter.
All right, thanks, Kurt. He'll be keeping us updated all afternoon on all the other games going on around the NFL. Here at 7-0, Bills leading and on the move after a pickup of 17. Moss to about the 21-yard line as the clock runs down in the opening quarter. The only scoring here, the opening drive, the Josh Allen touchdown pass, and it was a good one to Emmanuel Sanders. Buffalo trying to get more, leading 7-0 over Washington after one. Daryl Johnston, Jen Hale, Chris Meyer, thanks for joining us from Highmark Stadium as the Bills have that 7-0 advantage. And look at the time of possession as they face a second down and 6. Now the wind is at the back of Josh Allen. So also for field goal tries, they might be more likely. From the 21 of Washington, Zach Moss, who's been busy here, gets the carry for the Bills and gets the first down.
One of the things that you see on film, and there were some questions about, pass protection week 1, some other things week 2, but the one thing that you did say, and this validates what you were talking about earlier, Chris, is how well Buffalo can run the football. I think sometimes when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, all of a sudden you think it's just about the passing game and receivers down the field, but this Buffalo offense can run it very effectively as well. 5
touches for Moss. He had that fumble last week, but they went back to him and he produced for the Bills. Allen's throw in traffic there, but the catch made by Beasley inside the 10.
And this is an area where they had a big jump from week 1 to week 2. Really struggled in the red zone, scoring touchdowns, just 1 for 4. But last week against Miami, 4 for 4. So we'll see what they do here with their first opportunity.
Dawson Knox. Last Sunday playing the most snaps of his career, a target down here with Zach Moss in the backfield. Moss carries, he hesitates. Chase Young wraps him up. Chosen second last year out of Ohio State, part of those first rounders up front, second overall in the draft.
Yeah, Dawson Knox is going to come across the formation and try to get a block right here. But if you're coming to block Chase Young, he's pretty athletic, so just keep going to him. Don't wait on him. If you wait on him, he's athletic enough to get around you.
Third down 4, Beasley in the slot, upper part of your screen with Moss in the backfield. Allen on the move, flips the pass, and into the end zone, Zach Moss, and that's a Buffalo touchdown.
the thing that I'm most impressed with right now, Chris, here through the first half is just the poise and the presence in the pocket for Josh Allen. We all know about his big arm, but this has been really impressive here in the first half. I mean, Deron Payne, 94, has been pushing that pocket up front, and it's a scramble with eyes down the field. That's one-on-one. So, you know, Zach Moss could have carried Cole Holcomb into the end zone, and Josh could have ran it in, but he sees that little window right there and dumps it off for his running back to get a touchdown.
Tyler Bass, the extra point. We mentioned that Moss getting a lot of opportunity and making the most of it. Usually shares the running back duties with Devin Singletary. Josh Allen, 2 touchdown passes already in this game, 130 yards, and a 14-0 Buffalo Bills lead. Started with a takeaway from the Bills defense. Zach Moss, the catch, and into the end zone. His 3rd touchdown already this season. He had 2 big runs against the Dolphins last week, and for the season, 5 touchdown passes for Josh Allen as Tyler Bass knocks it through. And we'll see if Taylor Heineke can respond. Just going back through his journey, Old Dominion, a record setter, undrafted. Signed by the Vikings in 2015, never really got to the field. And then he made his NFL debut with the Texans. And then his first career start with the Panthers, but it ended with an injury. Couldn't find a team, was in the XFL, never got to play. League suspending operations. He was back in college thinking about coaching. Alex Smith, after Scott Turner says, let's get him to Washington due to injury, jumps in the game, starts in a wild card loss to Tampa, but people around the country noticed the way that Taylor Heineke played. And he's going to have to play big here, trailing 14-0. Plenty of time, but on the move. Throws, caught at the 35 by Terry McLaurin. Showing, yes, a lot of moxie.
And that's going to be the difference today. This Buffalo defense is much different than what New York did. New York's going to push that pocket and try and collapse it. There's not a lot of room for Taylor Heineke to escape in that situation. You're going to get some running lanes in this defense. We'll see if he can take advantage of them, because one of the other things he brings to the table is his athleticism, his legs, when guys are covered downfield and he sees that opening in the front.
Picked up 10 at a first down. Handoff is Gibson. And he fights hard to get to the 39. Scott Turner, son of Norm Turner, offensive coordinator now. Norm retired after so many great years in and around the NFL. He was the only coach. Heineke told us the only coach who showed up at Taylor Heineke's pro day. There were scouts there, but nobody offered much. And Turner, through his career, has been a believer, and the loyalty has paid off in this spot.
Yeah, and not just Scott Turner, Norv Turner as well. When he was in Minnesota, when he was in Carolina, and I actually called to talk to him when we were working in the XFL, and I tried my hardest to get Taylor Heineke from the St. Louis Battlehawks.
From the pocket, he's got time, and that's intercepted. Jordan Poyer is taking it inside the 20, and another Bills takeaway.
Taylor Heineke had a very costly interception at the end of that Giants game. His defense got the ball back for him. Eventually, they were able to win that game. This one is just a really poor decision. And then the execution. Protection's breaking down. You're late to your left. And then you just sail it a little bit. And, I mean, Jordan Poyer was sitting on that throw for a while.
And, again, not to be repetitive, but this is the direction you're going into the win, and the arm strength is something that had been in question of Heineke, although a good enough arm to play in the NFL, but not the power arm we saw in Josh Allen.
Well, not many people at the NFL level have Josh Allen's arm strength and his throwing velocity.
Singletary gets his turn after Moss was busy in that opening quarter, and then scoring the touchdown on the pass after the previous takeaway. It was a fumble recovery by Milano, and then this one, an interception that sets up the Bills' offense.
And that's one of the things that's happened at the start of the season, right? Maybe this offense is not as explosive as it was last season. You know, for all the Bills fans that remember how good they were in 2020, they scored over 500 points. But I tell you what they are right now, through the first 2 weeks and then into the first half of this game, very complimentary. Their defense is doing a great job of giving them short fields for that offense to work on.
Allen has time again. On the move, End zone knocked away right at the goal line. Benjamin St. Juste kept Cole Beasley from getting his hands on it.
Again, just a really nice job by Josh Allen here, understanding, it's starting to collapse. It's starting to break down. He's going to hang in there. He's got, some solutions out there quick. Nice adjustment by everybody. Watch number 11 work back towards the ball. And again, maybe a little bit of contact there as you see through the back. It was Benjamin St. Juste again.
Already one questionable call from referee Tony Corrente on a pass interference. Zach Moss is out on 3rd and 7. Allen scanning the field for the end zone, and Knox reaches up and grabs it, and Dawson Knox has a Buffalo touchdown. Wow, what a catch from the tight end position.
This is outstanding. I mean, this is great athletic ability by Dawson Knox. It's thrown high on the back shoulder. I mean, I can't tell you how hard this is. You're going full speed up the field. Now you've got to plant, spin, rotate, find that football and extend and catch it. Oh, yeah, and then get your feet down inbounds, so it's a touchdown.
Josh Allen knew right where to throw it. With that 6'4" reach, elbow equals 2 feet, so he should be. They're just reviewing, confirming, upholding.
It's going to get it's upheld. I was going to wonder if that hand might have gone out of bounds before that elbow got down.
Tyler Bass, the extra point. Another turnover turned into a touchdown on a spectacular grab. Josh Allen, 3 touchdown passes. All right, Fox, Knox, Dr. Seuss fan in the house here in Buffalo. 59 straight points since the 4th quarter of week 1, and since the last opponent score. 2 touchdown catches this year already for Knox, who had 4 catches, which was a career high in the opening loss to Pittsburgh. Tyler Bass adjusting again with the win. And by the way, Josh Allen, it's his 9th game with 3 touchdowns. Touchdown passes. And we're 10:40 until halftime. A touchback. Tomorrow on Fox, Blackout continues. The thrilling 9-1-1. Television's high-octane drama is back. It's wilder than ever. Don't miss a gripping all-new 9-1-1 tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
Well, we'll see if Taylor Heineke can bounce back. He did last Thursday, going back against the Giants, had a critical interception there. His defense bailed him out. His defense didn't bail him out this time, but it's going to be up to him to get something positive on this drive, or this game can get away from Washington by halftime.
Back to the ground, Antonio Gibson, converted receiver to running back from Memphis in his 2nd year. Averaging almost 5 yards a carry coming in. One of the fastest running backs to hit the line of scrimmage. They're going to need more than Antonio Gibson to get back into this game. 21-0 Bills. Pressure on. Dumps it off on a screen to Gibson. And Antonio Gibson running like a receiver. Can he be caught by Tre'Davious White? Eventually, yes. All the way inside the 10 and into the end zone for a touchdown. White was chasing all the way, and by the time he got to him, he was into the end zone for a 73-yard touchdown run after a short catch. Ruled a touchdown, and that extra lunge.
Wow.
Hit the pylon.
What a great effort.
Unbelievable. I said they need more than Antonio Gibson on the ground. Well, I didn't think of him.
Air and ground on that one.
Through the air and to the pylon. Confirming to make sure, but it certainly looked good with that leap and the body in the air and the ball touching the pylon. But boy, White was like hustling down the line. It's confirmed a touchdown. Short pass from Heineke and the dash from midfield by Antonio Gibson to cap a 73-yard touchdown. Extra point. Good by Dustin Hopkins. He says it's good. Heineke says it's good. The officials say it's good. 220-pound Antonio Gibson, the longest play of his career. It's only his second year in the league. He came in here 9th in the NFL after just a couple of weeks at 159 rush yards and then 90 in the opener. But he showed you his catch and run skills to get Washington back to within a 2-possession game. And this ball bounces on the kick. And Washington has it. What a play by Dustin Hopkins, the kicker who recovered after it bounced up in the air.
Recovery of the kick to Washington, first down.
We have already seen some tremendous athletic ability. Now an unusual special teams play that Washington comes away with the football.
Oh, I love the decision by Nate Katzer right here to do this play. You know, you're going to kick it up in the air. It's going to be hard to get it all the way to the end zone anyways. So let's really balloon this thing up in the air and force Buffalo to come up and make a play on the ball. They get caught kind of flat-footed, not expecting it. I mean, Khalil Hudson almost had it up in the air and on the move. And then it finally landed up with Dustin Hopkins.
Yeah, the wind a factor.
How about that? We're sitting here in the second quarter with about 10 minutes to go at 21-0, and it looks like Washington's on the cusp of getting run out of this building. And a great individual effort by Antonio Gibson on that screen pass, and now a great play by special teams to give Washington the football here. We could be at 21-14 less than a minute and a half later.
Spot where the kick ended, which is correct. First down.
You're right, Daryl. That changes everything. And then this play, spotted at the 24. That was the delay, and we're sorry about that. They want to make sure they got the spot right. First touched on that kick, and then recovered by the kicker, Hopkins of Washington. Antonio Gibson is in the backfield. Handoff to Cam Sims from his receiver spot. Weaves his way down to the, looks like maybe the 16-yard line. That was the first play for Washington in Buffalo territory. 9.5 to go before the half. Already 28 total points on the board.
Well, we talked about playing complementary football here this afternoon. We'll see what this Buffalo defense can do here. See if they can hold. They haven't been asked to do much. They've been taking the ball away, giving their offense great field position, but now they got to stand up.
On a second down 3. Tough hit on Gibson, trying to get the first down by Boyer.
That's a great job by Greg Rousseau. I mean, it's so hard to get around that corner because he's got Sam Cosmi extended, and they're not gaining any ground. Actually, he's got him knocked back behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, out here, watch this as they go out to the outside. Great job, and then there's your support coming up from the secondary.
So that's a loss of 1. The Buffalo defense haven't allowed a point to the opposition of the first half so far this season with McKissick in the backfield. Taylor Heineke backpedaling, throwing middle of the field, open for a first down, and diving inside the 5 is Logan Thomas. The one-time Buffalo Bill, the one-time quarterback who had that tough fumble when he was trying to make something happen a little earlier in the first quarter.
Yeah, this is a really nice job There's Logan Thomas out here in that bunch. Watch how Taylor Heinicke kind of holds this ball a little bit, lets everything develop. Eyes are out to the flat, and then it just opens up right in the middle of the field for him.
Pick up of 14 yards, first and goal with Gibson in the backfield. Heinicke keeps, throws, dropped. Gibson was on his way to the end zone.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson's going to be mad at himself here. I mean, you've got the play dialed up. You've got steps on him. It's delivered there right out in front, and you just bobble it.
Heinicke could have taken it himself, as quick a runner as he is.
That's one of the things I like, though. He understands the concept of getting the football to his teammates to make the plays. And that's a similar situation that we saw, with Zach Moss down there with Josh Allen. Josh might have been able to run that one in too, but get it out to your skill players. Let them do all the dirty work.
Second and goal from the 4. Heinicke. Room to run. Can he make it in time to the end zone? Diving in, and Heinicke has a Washington touchdown.
Well, I love that pylon over there.
And so does the Washington football team. Seeing some tremendous offensive plays here.
That was one of the things that Scott Turner shared with us. He said, when you talk about just athleticism and measurables, Taylor Heinicke's in the top 10 in the NFL. When you talk about speed, vertical jump, all the things that you're going to see at the combine, all these guys get measured and all the scouts are talking about. Taylor Heinicke is up in the top 10 league-wide, and you saw a lot of it right there on that touchdown run.
Hopkins, who recovered the kick with the extra point, and now it's 21-14. The underdog Washington football team and the underdog quarterback hanging in there against the Bills. Here in Buffalo, Washington might start paying rent where that pylon is located, because Antonio Gibson stretched almost 5 yards to the end zone, and then Taylor Heinicke, the leap for the touchdown a moment ago to make this a 21-14 game. And as you pointed out, Darryl, it was 21-0 just a moment ago. Isaiah McKenzie comes up to the 10-yard line and then goes back as it sails through the end zone after that unusual kick. But it started with Logan Thomas trying to make something happen, and the ball comes out. And then Heinicke intercepted by Poyer. But this big play by Gibson of 73 yards changed everything.
It really did. I mean, you're sitting at 21-0, about to get blown out. You have the Gibson touchdown. Now this on the next kickoff. Just a great job by Nate Katzer, the special teams coach for Washington, leads to this one as Taylor Heinicke does his best impression of Antonio Gibson.
Fake to Singletary. Room for Josh to run. He throws to Cole Beasley, who's up across the 47-yard line. Spotted at the 48 and a first down, Buffalo.
And that's a great first play to start this drive, because, we just showed you kind of the back and forth here. It's very hard as a player to stay involved in that ebb and flow of the game when it's been so chaotic the last couple of series. So just a nice job here between Josh Allen, Cole Beasley finding that soft spot.
Pickup of 18.
Hey, squeeze it. Hey, Gold Ray! Gold Ray! Yeah.
Devin Singletary, and run out of bounds as he got up near the 46-7-yard line. It was Chase Young who told us there when we talked to him, the game is, for us, for Washington, it goes how our front four goes.
Absolutely. And he knows that everything kind of runs through Josh Allen on this offense. But, you go back, and Josh Allen really reminds me a little bit of Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger had that stature, that build, that it was a two-part thing, right? You had to get to him to initiate the sack, but then you still had to be able to get him to the ground to complete the sack. And that was one of the things we asked Chase Young about, was you not just got to get there, you've got to get Josh Allen down. He felt confident these guys would be up to the task.
Healthy pickup on first down. They only need 3 for a first down on second as Beasley is stopped by Bobby McCain. Before the game, you know, the Josh Allen respect for Chase Young and vice versa. Josh is waiting as Washington is coming out on the field. You have to share the same tunnel here, but he wanted to make sure he saw that guy and said, hey, you know, I'm interpreting. Have a good one. Just go easy on me. Because Chase Young, who's looking for that first sack this year, has been double teamed and talked about getting chipped. But he certainly can change a game from a defensive standpoint.
20, what's that?
3rd and 4. And almost intercepted off the fingertips of Dawson Knox. Kendall Fuller had a chance at it. And Josh Allen took a hit as he let that ball go.
Oh, Kendall Fuller, if he can corral this, there's a chance for a pick six right here. Watch, this gets deflected up in the air, and he's going to come in. It's going to be a heck of a catch if he can get to it. But if he can pull that up, then he gets kind of run into all the bodies on the ground right there. But, boy, that would give Washington a great spot on the field to start their next drive.
Matt Hawk is in to punt. DeAndre Carter standing at the 10, waiting for the fair catch. You got to give him some room there, and he hauls it in inside the 15 of Washington. We talked about the journey of Heineke getting here. Washington, if you go back historically, Alex Smith they acquired in 2018, but he had that broken leg, had only 16 starts in 3 seasons, 7 different quarterbacks, then went 6-27, leading the team to just under 17 points a game. And then Heineke is the answer, started that wild card game, and then last week against the Giants, team is averaging over 26 points a game when he's out there. He's a make things happen kind of quarterback. Despite questions about his arm and height, he's on the run here, being chased by Mario Addison and run out of bounds. Greg Russo, also the rookie first rounder from Miami, had a couple of sacks last week, applying some pressure.
Probably one of the reasons, one of the things we talked to both staffs a little bit this week, and we showed you that at the beginning with Ron Rivera and Sean McDermott, you know, being close peers, you know. Ron Rivera reached out to Sean McDermott, you know, talked to him about the way he built Buffalo and trying to do that same thing in Washington. And that one piece is that quarterback. And Sean McDermott was patient. He and Brandon Beane waited for their opportunity to get Josh Allen.
Gibson trying to stay on his feet to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, and you just wonder when Washington is going to have that opportunity to commit to their franchise guy. And they were aggressive in the offseason. They know it's an important piece, and they looked at free agency, and they were kind of dabbling with the Matthew Stafford potential. They looked at all the top 4 guys in the draft. But Ron Rivera is very specific about not giving up draft capital. So, you know, when you talk about everything that they're doing there, you know, with Martin Mayhew and Marty Herney and all those guys trying to find that guy, they're going to be patient to make sure they get the exact correct fit.
On 3rd and 10, chance for the Bills defense. Heineke dumps it off short, but at the 20 and shoved back. Adam Humphries, and it's 4th down. Well, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's popular in these parts from his Buffalo days, he started for 9 different teams, including Washington, starting this year with a hip injury on the minimum 3-game injured list, so he can return later this year. But Heineke has an opportunity to maybe keep the starting job. That hasn't been addressed and probably won't be until there is a healthy Fitzpatrick. Bills defense did what they had to do and should have good starting point. McKenzie on the fly. Isaiah McKenzie, here comes the flag. He goes down inside the 30. Flag back at the 42.
That was one of the things getting ready for this game. Both of these teams have exciting return guys. You just saw Isaiah McKenzie there, had a big one to open up that game against Pittsburgh.
Kick. Holding, receiving team number 44. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Tyler Matakevich is called for the penalty. And now this from Progressive.
We are here.
For new homeowners, a football game can really bring out the parent in them.
It's smart we park near the exit.
Absolutely.
There you go. That way.
Let's put away the parking talk maybe for a minute.
Parking is where the money is, though. You imagine what this place pulls in on parking alone?
All right, no more talking about parking lots.
A lot of these are compact spots.
It's not pretty.
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
We still planning to head out around the third quarter?
Let's not talk about leaving before we're actually at the game.
That 33-yard return wiped out by the penalty. It was a 42-yard punt. Spotted back at the 42 of Buffalo. Bills have jumped out to a 21-0 lead. See that breeze kicking up. It's to the back of Allen, who's set to throw, and floats one. Emmanuel Sanders to the 15 of Washington.
All right. There's Coach Daboll's number 2 highlight from this game to make sure he shows Josh Allen and the unique things that he can do from the quarterback spot. I mean, that is a very, very small window to fit this football in, and he does a heck of a job. You got safety help coming from the inside.
Well, that was a nice grab. He had a nice fingertip grab against Miami. What a sneaky pickup for this Bills team, adding some more offensive talent for Allen to get the ball to, and he threw a nice one there. 41-yard completion. Cole Beasley run out of bounds around the 10-yard line. Allen is over 200 yards through the air. He's run very little today.
And that's really good athleticism there by Cole Beasley, because, you know, you've got that on the outside. It's a great block by Emmanuel Sanders to get him free, but you've got safety help again coming inside out. It wasn't completely perfect as what you want to see pre-snap as a quarterback, but the trust that Josh Allen showed right there that Cole Beasley is going to be able to make that play and get me some positive yards.
5 catches for Beasley in the game to lead all receivers. That's him moving around to the upper portion of your screen on a 2nd and 3. Straight ahead is Zach Moss. We have reached the 2-minute warning here in Buffalo. Bills hanging on to a 21-14 lead and trying to add to it. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Good grab by Emmanuel Sanders, his 4th of this game, 41-yarder to set the Bills up. All-around good guy. He was named Week 3 NFL PA Community MVP. He relaunched his Emmanuel Sanders Foundation here in Buffalo to help financially disadvantaged families personally making donations on a 1st and goal for the Bills. Moss spins inside to the 5-yard line. By the way, Sanders, when targeted, 4 for 4. And 89 receiving yards for him. That leads the Bills today.
Yeah, and that's one of the guys. That's a great addition by Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, because you got to have those guys who have been there, done that. And, you know, Emmanuel Sanders has got a Super Bowl from his time in Denver 2015. He's played with Ben Roethlisberger, you know, played with Drew Brees, played with Peyton Manning.
And he played at SMU going back with Cole Beasley. And in fact, Josh Allen told us that those two took plays from SMU in their college days and brought them into the Buffalo offense here. So that's going way back and bringing it way forward for Buffalo. 2nd and goal from the 5. McKenzie in motion now, dancing around behind Josh Allen. Allen looks that way and working his way down to about the 3 or 4 before he got knocked backward by Young and Montez Sweat. Sweat's got a 5-game sack streak on the line as they have been unable to get to Josh Allen today. That's the 2nd timeout Washington has used. So actually they're out because they lost on a challenge on a 3rd and goal. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime, we'll see how Justin Herbert and the Chargers are doing against Mahomes and the Chiefs, and check in with the Colts as they look for their first win of the season against the Titans. Don't disappear. The Verizon Halftime is next.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Ball in the air for Josh Allen, 18 of 23, over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 takeaways by the Buffalo defense today. And Ron Rivera's team coming back from a 21-0 deficit. It's 21-14. Rivera hoping his defense comes up with a big stop. Trouble with Moss in the backfield and Allen, who can keep it himself. That's Beasley moving around. Allen on the move. Can he get it into the end zone? No. Chased down by Montez Sweat.
Really nice job by Washington on the back end, because when you play a quarterback like Josh Allen and he extends that play, you know, they refer to it as plaster coverage. You've got to take your man now and follow him wherever he goes. And he really kind of held his ball and extended it. And it's just a really nice job by the secondary and the linebackers, keeping sure their coverage is true.
Tyler Bass coming on. Made all 3 of his field goal tries in week 1. Missed from beyond 50 against Miami. That snapped a string of 17 consecutive. This 21-yarder to make it a 10-point lead. 24-14. Buffalo. Good picture, too, of the wind blowing the outfit of Sean McDermott. Well, underdog Washington, underdog quarterback. Buffalo, high expectations. How you sizing it this game so far as we look forward to the second half and our remaining time here?
Yeah, ebbs and flows during the course of the game with momentum. It's a response-driven league, and I think we've seen that by both teams here today. Most impressively by Washington. I mean, they were on the cusp of getting run out of the building by Buffalo. And once this fan base at this stadium gets into the game and you're way down, it's going to be really, really challenging. So those plays in about 2.5, 3 minutes that Washington was able to pull off to get back to 21-14 was huge. But again, just a nice response by Buffalo, getting down, getting that field goal at the end of half. So now Washington used a timeout there to make sure that they're going to get an opportunity to get the ball here prior to that 3rd down. So we'll see if Taylor Heineke's got any magic left in him here in the first half to get some more points.
Yeah, each team after the big lead, each team has kind of responded, Darryl, as you talked about. So how aggressive will Washington be, knowing that Buffalo has all of its timeouts? And the fact that they're trailing by 10, you don't want to do a quick 3-and-out thing, and then you give the ball back to Josh Allen.
The one thing that Scott Turner will have as the offensive coordinator and the play caller for Taylor Heineke is an aggressive approach to the game. And he talked to us about how he weighed all those variables at the end of that Giants game. The Giants had all 3 timeouts. They were backed up. He didn't want to go 3-and-out and put the ball back in Daniel Jones's hands to win that game. I expect him to see the same thing here. They don't have any timeouts. Buffalo's got 3, but he's got that aggressive nature. And if he gets a good play here, a good positive play on this first snap in this series, watch this offense roll into a good 2-minute situation.
J.D. McKissick with a first down. That's a positive play as he slides up across the 35-yard line.
That's classic style there. You know, learn from his dad, Norb. You know, it's something simple, something easy in the first play, a draw, a screen, something that gives us the chance for positive yards. If we get it, let's get moving.
In the pocket, it's crowded in there. Throws, and it's intercepted. It's another Buffalo takeaway. Taron Johnson, and a flag down as he goes down inside the 5-yard line. There's 2 flags, one near midfield, another inside the 40 of Washington. Went off the hands of the intended receiver. Johnson had a pick last week. It was Logan Thomas who had his hands on it, but that's where one flag was dropped. Saw Brandon Sheriff go down hard. He's over on the sideline. If officials concerned, And so are members of the Washington football team.
There are 3 fouls on the plate, all against Buffalo. Personal foul, illegal blindside block during the return of the interception. Number 55, this penalty is declined. Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 49. This penalty is declined. Illegal contact, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Fans here don't like it. Heineke does, and Washington will advance with just over a minute to go. But the Brandon Sheriff injury is of great concern. Right guard Brandon Sheriff is up and moving. He went to the sideline. His momentum, he had to leap over somebody, hit the wall, tried to brace himself. Looked like his face mask hit the wall, and he went down hard. Good to see him moving, because at first he did not. I'll show you in just a moment here. Wes Schweitzer comes in at that guard spot. First out from the 40 after the slew of penalties on Buffalo. No timeouts, Washington. Heineke, McKissick to the 45. And they're hustling up to the line. There was a big hole there for Heineke to run upfield, but again, without timeouts, we're already down to 45 and counting here. On 2nd and 6. Throw knocked away and incomplete. Taron Johnson almost had another pick, even though the first one was wiped out.
Yeah. So there's Brandon Sheriff, number 75 in white, and as Chris said, he kind of leaps over a guy on the ground, and he's got all that momentum carrying him into the wall area. I don't like the transition right there, the turf to the track style stuff. I'd like to see them carry the turf all the way to the wall. It gives the player the exact same surface underneath him. He's going to feel more confident in trying to brace and stop right there. So maybe something for the NFL Players Safety Commission to take a look at and mandate that we get that turf all the way out to the walls.
On 3rd down, the ball is knocked away. Trying to get it to Humphries, but it was Matt Milano who played the nice defense at his 4th down.
And you see, I mean, you walk up here and you show, if you were watching the film last week, you knew that was a big part of the pressure package that they utilized, and just eyes on the quarterback. Where's he looking? Where's he throwing?
That's a tight window, an excellent defense. Long-armed Milano, who rushed 11 times last week, said he didn't know he was going to be doing that in coverage here as Trustway moves this back, and inside the 10, it will roll into the end zone. Buffalo 3 timeouts, 26 seconds out to the 25-yard line. Verizon halftime coming up. Highlights of the Browns and the Bears. Saints winning in New England. How about Jacksonville at home up on the Cardinals? They'll have updated scores, highlights, other information. Cincinnati leading Pittsburgh as well. And the Ravens on top of the Lions. Here it's 24-14. Sean McDermott's team has led all the way. But he has a lead at halftime. He's pretty good as a head coach. His record here with Buffalo. We heard an Omaha from Josh Allen. Open is Diggs. Steps out of bounds. 20 seconds. And again, those 3 timeouts.
Yeah, Washington has to be careful here, right? They've got the wind at their back. Tyler Bass has a big leg, so you've got that working in your favor. So I wonder where they've got kind of their distance. Pre-game, he was kicking from 55, 58, and he had lots of room to spare. So you're talking about the 40, 42-yard line. If your last play of the half, Sean McDermott's going to roll the dice in that situation and take a shot at points.
A strong wind at the back of Allen, and the Bills going in that direction. He floats one there for Cole Beasley. And all of a sudden at the 45 of Washington, and a timeout used by Buffalo.
Timeout. Buffalo, they're first.
Yeah, just subtle movement by Josh Allen in the pocket today. And he's got Chase Young on the pressure there. Steps to the side, climbs a little bit, finds Cole Beasley down the field. So just a really nice job this afternoon. And again, we talked at the top that this defensive front really drove this whole defensive unit last year to top 5 in total yards and scoring, and they have not played at that level to start the season. And the Buffalo Bills offensive line is continuing their struggles when they do get an opportunity to get pressure. Josh Allen has done a great job extending and finding open receivers down the field.
Good numbers for Josh Allen in this first half. And again, he has not been sacked. Has looked comfortable despite the pressure. Open on the sideline. Did he keep the feet in? He did. That's Diggs. And already in field goal range.
Nice picture right there.
Their second.
Bills will have one timeout remaining, and the Bills will be kicking off to start the second half. Ron Rivera deferred to start the game. I mentioned the success rate under Sean McDermott. They'll have the lead at the half. The question is just by how much.
Well, only 6 seconds left, so that's really that was always our cutoff, you know, kind of what a play would take. So this is going to have to be something rather short. They've got that timeout left, so it can be middle of the field, where they can pop up and call that last timeout.
And you've got, you know, right now a 52-yard field goal, give or take. So it's got to be quick, and it is. Knox goes out of bounds, picks up a chunky yardage. That should give Tyler Bass an opportunity with 2 seconds remaining. Knox making sure the audio rep is okay down there. Yeah, you hang in there. You want the best sound, but not when you're getting knocked over. The hazards of sideline work. So this will be 46-47, I think, with the spot.
Maybe 48.
They're keep counting.
Yeah, they're losing ground here. I tell you what a great drive right there. What a great execution by Josh Allen and the offense to get this field goal opportunity.
And what an exciting first half of football between two teams who went to the playoffs last year. And that is great work of the time. Execution, a 27-14 Bills halftime lead. Now let's head to Los Angeles and the Verizon halftime report. Kurt Menefee and the guys. Today's game flow brought to you by Progressive. Josh Allen with a big first half. Maybe the best this Bills offense has played all year, most complete. But let's take Washington first. The underdog team getting the football have battled back to stay within 10.
Yeah, well, if this defensive line drives this defense, they're stuck in neutral right now. Because for the third time to start this season, 2 games and now a half, they're just not creating enough chaos in that backfield. And as you pointed out, I do think when you talk about rhythm, execution, game planning, game calling, everything that goes into an offense, that was the best I've seen Buffalo through a half all season long.
Buffalo defense with a couple of takeaways. And kicking off and rolling out of bounds.
Kickoff out of bounds. Ball be placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
Set down to the field and Jen Hale.
Chris, some great news for right guard Brandon Sheriff. After hitting that wall, he is expected to return this half and be just fine. Amazing, because it looked pretty nasty at the end of that first half. Meanwhile, quarterback Taylor Heineke got a strong talking to from his Washington coaching staff at halftime. They told him, take what's in front of you. Stop trying to force things and be a hero. Just get this offense into a good rhythm, and look what happens. Good things. You're already came back by 2 touchdowns. Trust yourself. Don't be a hero.
All right, thanks, Jen. Heineke on the move. Points one, and McLaurin has it, and out of bounds with a first down near the Buffalo 45-yard line.
That's a nice job on that start right there. Just get Taylor Heinicke out on the edge. Get him away from that inside rush, that edge rush. Good block right there to get him that edge. And then a really nice throw right here to Terry McLaurin. And that's one of the guys that you've got to get involved. We haven't seen a lot from Terry McLaurin yet this afternoon, and he's going to be key here in the second half if Washington's going to get back into this game.
He has that third catch, fastest player on the field for this Washington offense with Curtis Samuel on injured reserve, and McKissick with a strong run down to the 40. No, Ron Rivera said he liked the way that Scott Turner called the game against the Giants, mixing more people in, using McKissick not just in third down passing situations, which he's noted for, but in some other spots along with Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, because as you're playing defense and all of a sudden you see J.D. McKissick in the lineup, immediately you're going to think that it's going to be some type of pass play, but they've done a nice job of keeping any of those tendencies a little bit off balance here this afternoon.
It's a handoff to De'Ami Brown from his receiver spot, but he's met by a couple of Bills, including Micah Hyde, shoving him backwards.
Yeah, that's a great job by Micah Hyde right out here. Do your job. Be responsible. Outside run leverage. You see the reverse coming. Get out there. Get him out flank. Really nice job, because that's one of the guys, and this is something I thought was interesting, talking to Scott Turner before the game. Washington has played their first 2 games at home on grass. They're on turf for the first time, and he was excited to see Antonio Gibson. We saw the big explosive play, but then also De'Ami Brown right there. He wanted to see him out in space, so really nice job by Micah Hyde on that.
On a 3rd and 10, Heinicke stays in the pocket, and it's 4th down. Trying to go to McLaurin, but the coverage was good. There really wasn't much there. So after an opportunity on the kick, Rivera says, hey, I wanted a call on that.
Well, the big thing right now is the receivers for Washington are not winning on the outside in the drop-back game. It seems to be here in this game when it's movement, when you've got Taylor Heinicke out on an edge and you're doing that type of route design and those types of routes, they're having a better opportunity. But if it's a straight drop-back, struggling to get open.
Isaiah McKenzie. Fair catch around the 7-yard line. Josh Allen takes over deep in Buffalo territory. Already 3 touchdown passes in this game. Here in Buffalo, after a 38-yard punt, Bills starting inside their own 10-yard line, and for Washington and their defense, facing 5 straight Pro Bowl quarterbacks, guys like Mahomes and Matt Ryan and Rodgers on the list, and having a tough time with Josh Allen today. Singletary and Cameron Curl on the play. Jen?
Well, Chris, obviously Sean McDermott much happier with that passing game. He thinks Josh Allen is being much more decisive with his throws and putting some nice velocity on the ball. Also a big difference, Emmanuel Sanders. He caught about 50% of the passes from Josh in the past 2 games. Today, he's caught everything that comes his way. Guys, also watch for this Washington defense to spread out some. Rivera told me he thought they were being too worried about Josh's scrambling and not worried enough about defending the pass.
And even though the pressure is on, complete to Cole Beasley. Beasley with 7 catches leads all receivers. By the way, the Bills, when Josh Allen is over 60% completion, and you talked about how he's grown in that area there. He's 79% today, or at least he was in the first half. They're 22-2.
Yeah, that's some crazy numbers right there. That's the biggest thing for me today. It's a very catchable ball, and you just heard Jen talk about what he's doing with Emmanuel Sanders.
And there's Diggs, who's alone, pushing his way across the 26-yard line.
It's one thing to throw in the direction of. It's another thing to give your players the opportunity to make that play, and that's what Josh Allen has done today. You've seen some of the decision making, but maybe the location was not exactly where he would like it to be. That's not the case this afternoon. He's been spot on with his location.
To the line without a huddle. Way too much being made about the passing game. I mean, we're two games in, and he looks as good as he's ever looked here. And Singletary cuts back and brought down at the 30. And that'll give him a first down.
That's the one area that Washington has done a nice job. I'm a big Devin Singletary fan, and they've really kind of put the clamps on him here this afternoon. Hasn't had that big breakaway run yet.
50-plus rush yards for Buffalo, and a lot of that was Zach Moss. But when you have Josh Allen throwing the way he is, not much of a concern. And throwing again, catch inside the 35-yard line. It's Beasley again. And Kendall Fuller came over to this Washington defense, back to Washington, I should say, after going to Kansas City. Something Ron Rivera said, we wanted to add some speed in that secondary and help on the corners, adding William Jackson from Cincinnati on the other side. They have their hands full. 2nd down 6 from the 35. Singletary, nowhere. Jonathan Allen up front, one of those inside guys that Chase Young called gritty guys, straight dogs, I think is how he described. That's him talking to me.
Well, I think we always tend to focus on the edge rushers because they're usually the guys that are getting the sacks. But here, I mean, it's across the board. And with the backups, too. I mean, Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne are your starters. But, you know, Tim Settle's a good player. Unfortunately, Matt Ioannidis out today, but he's another really good player inside.
Daniel Wise brought up from the practice squad if needed for Washington. Then a quick throw. And up across, it's Beasley again. Across the 40, gets another 1st down. Kind of like a running game, the short passing game.
Exactly, Chris. And that's what it's been. It's been a quick out for Josh Allen because you have respect for that front. And the timing there is outstanding. It is thrown. Cole Beasley gets the catch, but it gives Stephon Diggs the great timing to be able to engage in that block to get him the yards for the 1st down.
9 catches for Beasley. Allen, Diggs. 1st down at the 46, and he's fired up about it.
Benjamin St-Juste, a little bit of help. He's got some safety help on the inside, but you're going to see Cameron Curl, number 31, come flying in on the run right here. And that opens that window, so that outside leverage, you think you've got inside safety help, all of a sudden it's gone.
And Josh Allen over 300 yards already through the air. Hasn't run much today, hasn't needed to. Singletary with a surge inside the 40 of Washington. Time of possession throughout this game heavily in favor of Buffalo, and they're doing it again here in the 2nd half.
Yeah, and then changing up that blocking scheme up front again. This time it's Tommy Sweeney coming from the outside on a trap block inside to get that quick hitter.
And quick to the line, and they haven't been huddling, at least in this drive. And Singletary remains the back after a pickup of 7. Allen throwing. Diggs was going upfield, and he, I think, expected him to turn out. It'll be 3rd down.
Now, on 1st and 2nd down, this Washington defense will stay kind of vanilla. They rely on their 4-down linemen to get the pressure, and that's a luxury when you can kind of drop your linebackers and have your secondary all the way in the back with 7 guys. But you know, today they haven't been getting home on a consistent basis. Every time they're getting close to having pressure, Brian Daboll's one step ahead of them, and he's got the right play call. They may need to start thinking about adjusting their style of defense here today, and maybe adding a little bit to the rush package to try and help out those guys in the D-line.
Zach Moss, who has a touchdown catch as a receiver up toward the top of your screen. Pressure coming, and what a catch in a crowd. Cole Beasley. And Josh Allen got his. He let it go. Cameron Curl blitzing from his safety spot.
I mean, it's exactly what we just talked about. You're going to have a blitz called on the backside, but watch Cole Beasley coming out right there. It's perfectly called. You've got Chase Young dropping back into coverage, but there's Cameron Curl coming. Just a little bit of a hesitation there. If he just continues to move towards Josh Allen, maybe he can impact that throw.
Pickup of 10. Quick drop. Pass complete. Middle of the field. Inside the 20. Should be close enough for another 1st down as Dawson Knox hauls that in. So the 9th 300-yard passing game for Josh Allen. Bills are 8-0 when he tops that mark. And they're on their way to adding to a 27-14 lead and chewing up time here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, no more talk about rhythm and execution after this game.
Zach Moss the back. Looked like Diggs. They moved.
False start. Offense, number 14. 5-yard penalty remains 1st down.
I love the accountability right there. Stephon Diggs is really upset with himself because he understands that this offense has really established a rhythm. And the one thing that will really throw that out of sync are offensive penalties and getting yourself behind the chains. So very frustrated with himself right there.
And one of the great personalities on Sean McDermott's team, Josh Allen, has said when I am struggling in the game, he's the guy in the huddle who gets me back on track. Moss gliding inside the 20 down near the 16-yard line. Will check that spot. McDermott talking about his team this year. We talked about expectations, that they have to stay hungry each game and play hungry. They have not let up, even when it was 21-0. Spotted at the 17-yard line after a pickup. That penalty. So 2nd and 9. Beasley again with a block. Beasley down to the 10-yard line.
All right, so one of the things you can do when you've got this really aggressive front, watch the Buffalo Bills offensive line. They're all going to kind of sidestep their guys, let them get upfield because they know the ball is coming out quick to the outside. Your whole offensive line is coming downfield, just sliding to the left. Very cool design right there, and a great way to take advantage and slow that pass rush down.
Delay handoff. Moss with a first down to the 5-yard line. It'll be first and go Buffalo. For the play calling by Brian Dable, the mixture and the use. Allen has completed to 8 different receivers. The Moss Singletary 1-2 punch has just worked to perfection.
Yeah, he's got this defense on their heels. I mean, they have thrown so many different concepts at them during the course of this game.
Moss, not much there this time. Washington keeps him in check. We have not had a sack in this game by either one of the defensive lines, which we made the point was all first round, at least the starters, all first round draft picks.
Well, it's a compliment to both of these offensive lines, and it was one of the question marks that Brian Dable had coming into this game after the struggles there against Pittsburgh in the opening week. You know, is our offensive line good enough to compete with the elite defensive lines in the NFL?
Here's Allen. End zone 4. Touchdown passes today. Emmanuel Sanders grabs that one. And that's 2 for Sanders.
Boy, they've really gotten into sync here today. Going to take him upfield, and you know, I don't know what happened there with the coverage rules because it looked like Benjamin St. Juste felt like he was going to have safety help from Cameron Curl a lot quicker. He turned Emmanuel Sanders loose, back in behind him to the corner, and Cameron Curl was real late getting there.
Juste, the rookie, Curl trying to cover, going for 2 to put 35 on the board. Allen knocked away. Good defense over there by Kendall Fuller, working on Sanders. Make that Benjamin St. Juste working against Emmanuel Sanders, who makes sure some Oil fan gets a souvenir. Look how fired up that kid is. Can you believe that? He'll remember it forever. Emmanuel Sanders with the 5-yard touchdown grab, but that 93-yard drive in over 8 minutes pretty much puts Washington up against the wall.
That is so impressive. I mean, that's a work of art. 17 plays, 93 yards, 8 minutes, 17 seconds. That is not easy to do in the NFL. It is not, especially against a defense with a front like Washington's.
The frustration, there's defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio and Chase Young. And the great support of the Bills Mafia and the Buffalo fans, not just here filling this place up at Highmark Stadium, but across the country watching in establishments everywhere, I'm sure, at toasting, saying this is the team we saw in the championship game. They went to the playoffs last year that battled KC, and the return, DeAndre Carter from inside the Washington 10. They're going to have to fight back, and he gets a return out up across the 25-yard line. And a flag down. Every Wednesday, the Masked Singer brings you The biggest superstars, and the new season is here. Watch the crazy reveals. Catch all the eye-popping episodes every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And at 7 Central on Fox. There's a candidate right there. See if we can hook you up.
During the return of the kick, holding, receiving team number 87. 10-yard penalty, first down.
A bigger hole for Washington to dig out of for Taylor Heinicke, who hasn't run much. They may have to lean on that a little bit. You know, Heinicke bulked up. It was part of what they wanted from him health-wise, as fast as he is, just to be able to take hits. So he added about 12, 14 pounds, upper body strength, extensive program work off of last year. And they got the 2-year contract from Washington.
Well, that was a big thing. It was all about durability. I mean, he's got everything you need from an athletic ability, the mental capacity. All the tools are there. It was just his durability was his biggest knock.
Gibson up near the 20, flag back at the 7.
Holding, offense, number 82. Penalties assessed, half innocence to the goal. First down.
Son Logan Thomas had a tough day. It's only the 4th accepted penalty on Washington. That was an issue Rivera wanted cleared up coming in. They were top 5 after the first 2 games and penalties called. Gibson dancing around and trying to get outside. Runs into, looked like Levi Wallace, eventually getting some of that, making up for some of that penalty yardage.
And it's one of the positives, offensively for Washington today is Antonio Gibson. And he's just continuing to get better and more comfortable being that running back. And you see right there, at a certain point, just take the guy on. Use your strength, which is your physicality, as he lowers the shoulder on Levi Wallace.
He has 1 catch today for 73 yards and a touchdown, and he stretched what looked like 4 or 5 yards to the pylon to get that score for Washington. Heinicke on the move. Throws and hauled in by Thomas. There's a flag down back around the 14-yard line. Wonder if he's past the line of scrimmage or not. As Heinicke was on the move. Pick up a 24 yards, but they're discussing the flag.
Illegal forward pass. Quarterback was beyond the line of scrimmage. Penalty will be 5 yards. Andrew lost it down. 3rd down.
That's surprising to me because he's got a real good feel for where the line of scrimmage is. So it's a 13-yard line. Now you have to be completely beyond the 13 too. They give the quarterback quite a bit of grace period right here. You can see he's all the way up towards the 14 right there. So that pump fake is what got him. If he would have turned it loose on that first throw, he'd have been okay.
On 3rd down, on the move again, and it's intercepted. Micah Hyde has this one for Buffalo. 3 takeaways today for the Bills.
Just uncharacteristic of Taylor Heinicke. What we've seen in his limited opportunities, he has been a good decision maker, especially when the play breaks down and he gets on the move. He's usually able to create a situation where his receiver is open because it's a broken play. This is not a good choice. Middle of the field, multiple defenders around his target.
Yeah, he came in with 3 touchdown passes and only 1 interception. And he has suffered 2 today.
Yeah, when you looked at it from that back camera angle right there, you could see what Taylor Heinicke was seeing. And I don't think any of us would have turned that one loose in that situation.
And in both cases on those last few downs, you know, he had a chance to run. I know it was 3rd and long.
Number 79 has reported as eligible.
Spencer Brown comes in, extra lineman for Buffalo. That interception return takes it to the 17-yard line. Singletary the back. 5th 300-yard gain for Josh Allen coming today. And he's looking for the end zone. Throws and incomplete. Reggie Gilliam, the fullback, was the target. They want a flag here, but John Bostic was good on the coverage.
They're never going to give the fullback a call like that. They're never going to give it.
You sound like an old fullback.
You know, you're a tough guy. You go into the middle. You should be able to handle all that contact. Look at it. Oh, my. Absolutely.
If they had a fullback.
He obstructed the opportunity for him to make that play.
They had a fullback Hall of Fame from your Cowboys Super Bowl days and Syracuse days. I'm sure you'd be in there, but that was a tough catch for anybody. Beasley, meanwhile, 11 catches, tying his career high for Buffalo. And a second down, straight ahead. Singletary to the 10. Kurt Menefee has a game break.
All right, the rookie struggles continue for the #1 pick, Trevor Lawrence. On a trick play, he gets picked off. Byron Murphy's second interception of the day, and that one is a pick 6. 29-yard score, and the Cardinals are on top, 24-19 late in the 3rd quarter in Jacksonville. Chris, Moose, and Jennifer.
All right, thank you, Kurt, for the update. Jacksonville winless. Cardinals try to stay undefeated. They get the Rams next Sunday. Rams and Bucks later today on America's Game of the Week on Fox. 3rd and 4. Allen throws off the hands just as he made the turn. Beasley misses a chance for his 12th catch. Here comes Tyler Bass. This will be a 29-yard field goal try. Bills have done a good job cashing in on points for every miscue on the part of the Washington offense. And they do once again. Bills add to their lead. And the fans here that came out early have not stopped celebrating. Western New York, Niagara Falls. Daryl Johnston, who didn't grow up too far from here, grew up working your drone to get a nice picture. That was good.
That's beautiful. That was never really seen it from that perspective before. That was awesome.
Buffalo fans having a good time with our producer Eric Billigmeyer, Scott Katz, our director, Sherrod Devasker, our AD, Rick Odioso and James Petrarca in the booth helping us with Daryl Johnston, Jen Hale on the field. I'm Chris Myers, and a lot of work ahead for Taylor Heineke and this Ron Rivera Washington team. After 21-0, they battled back, but the Bills took control once it got close. Now 36-14 and a touchback. Coming up, America's Game of the Week, a showdown between a couple of unbeaten teams. Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion Bucks against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. It's the first time that Tom Brady will play an NFL game in Los Angeles. It's at age 44, his 44th different stadium. Some will see the Seahawks take on the Vikings, but stay tuned on Fox or the Fox Sports app. Check the local listing for the game in your area. From the 25-yard line. Antonio Gibson will pick up a couple. Ron Rivera said early this week, for his Washington football team, this is a good measuring stick for us.
Yeah, they want to see where you are in the process of rebuilding. But let's not forget, they were 7-9 last year. And I had an opportunity to do a game. The NFC East was just laying there for somebody to take control. And Coach Rivera committed all his resources, made changes at quarterback. Hey, we're going to take a shot at this. Instead of going through the normal process of building year one, let's go take a shot at this. So they were a playoff team, a division winner last year, but there's a lot of other things that go into how that team is made up.
Scrambling is Heineke. He does keep this time and gets out of bounds. Last time anybody repeated as a champ in the NFC East, wow, 2004, the Eagles, and they did it 4 straight.
Yeah, and that's why he made that decision. And I loved it. And it was great to watch him go through the rest of the season. He was disappointed that his team didn't run 7 off in a row. They were 5-2 going down the stretch. So now the whole thing is, okay, now we're back into year 2 because we got to build this thing the right way. And that's going to be the challenge for him during the course of the season. And yes, this game is a measuring stick against a very good Bills team.
Dropped by De'Ami Brown, the speedy rookie from North Carolina.
And that's a first down right there. Your offense stays on the field. You continue to work. And it's the simple things. Everything goes back to fundamentals. And that's one of the things that's been very frustrating for Coach Rivera, for Coach Turner, and for Coach Del Rio this year is, kind of the lack of consistency on just the basic things, fundamentals. And there's a great example of it right there because Scott Turner should be dialing up a 1st and 10 play right now.
Yeah, and who else other than Terry McLaurin steps up on that offense? McLaurin held to 3 catches today. Gibson had the big play, but you can't have those kinds of plays, not against Buffalo. McKenzie from the 25 on the return and shoved back when he got near the 30-yard line. Third quarter winding down. The Bills already with 36 on the scoreboard are trying to get some more with the lead. Josh Allen just warming up, but it's game 3. Bills trying to chalk up their 2nd win of the season. Look what he's done today. He's never had a 5-touchdown pass game in the NFL, but we have some time yet. From the 29, Zach Moss is the running back. He's throwing and incomplete. A little quick for Emmanuel Sanders.
Quick release, a little bit of velocity on that one. But yeah, I mean, that last graphic we showed, I think that is the biggest thing. In the first 2 weeks, the completion percentage wasn't there. So it looks a little bit out of sync today at 78%. That's a tremendous number, and that's why this has looked so good this afternoon.
Those are 2 good defenses, Pittsburgh and Miami. But how about this? And, he signed in August a 6-year contract extension worth up to $258 million and $150 million guaranteed. I mean, this is a guy from a farming community outside of Fresno, California, blue-collar type as Moss carries. And I think sometimes, whether they admit it or not, and Jared Goff admitted to this back when he signed his big deal, there's this pressure underneath. Even though you proved yourself, I got to prove myself more.
Yeah, you got the contract because the organization has the faith in you to be the voice and the face of the franchise. So you've already earned that. So just go out and continue to work and play. And that's the great thing about Josh Allen. Maybe that's what it was the first couple of weeks. Oh, my gosh, I'm putting so much pressure on myself. And whatever it is, he's just felt very, very comfortable today against a defense that had high hopes coming into this season.
Yeah, a front 4. It has been awesome, but today held in check. And we'll probably just let that clock run out and end the 3rd quarter. Controlling the game as we head to the 4th. What a game Josh Allen has had, pointing the Bills in the right direction. You're watching the NFL on Fox from Western New York. Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. Fans excited. The Bills got out to a 21-0 lead, and they've never let up. It tightened a bit. And Washington got within one possession, but now the Bills in control of things to start the 4th on 3rd and 2. Allen's throw almost hauled in by Diggs. Coverage good by William Jackson. Chase Young was doing just that, chasing Josh Allen, who has yet to be sacked.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a plus today, too. When the rush hasn't got home and Josh Allen has kind of escaped and extended, there's been times when this secondary has really kind of stood up. They've stayed with their guys step for step. And Ron Rivera's going to sit back. He's going to watch this film. There's some good teaching moments here. It's not all bad. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to find the good and correct the mistakes and just keep pressing and moving on during the course of this rebuild.
Yeah, one gauge, but not passing the test here in Buffalo. Not today, not for Washington. High kick. Andre Carter lets it bounce in the wind, and everything going right for Buffalo. Yeah, their special teams right on it. Down to the 1-yard line where they down it. Saran Neal. Now this from Geico.
So what I'm saying is people like options. I mean, you take Geico, you can call them anytime if you feel like saving money. It don't matter, day or night. Use your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, whatever. The point is, you have options. Ah, how convenient. Oi, crab cakes. What are you looking at?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Taylor Heineke starting all the way inside his own 2 after a 60-yard punt by Matt Hawk. Antonio Gibson picks up a couple. Well, you don't judge a guy on one game, not in Buffalo against this defense, but 2 interceptions. Taylor Heineke, who's filling in for the injured Ryan Fitzpatrick, hoping it's his chance after bouncing around the league. But Washington still may not have solved their quarterback problems over the long haul as they work their rebuild, as you talked about earlier.
No, but I like the fact that they're staying patient with it. And they're not being forced, and the front office and the coaching staff is on board. Let's not give up any of our core players. Let's not give up draft capital at the top of the draft.
Heineke from his own end zone dropped.
And it's not just been Taylor Heineke. I mean, there's Cam Sims with a drop. We saw De'Ami Brown last time he was going to have a first down. So it's just, when there's mistakes happening all around you, it all really kind of comes back on the quarterback. And it's been a tough afternoon all around for this Washington offense.
Yeah, they need more playmakers around whoever the quarterback is. But this crowd and this defense in Buffalo have had a major influence on what Washington has been unable to do on offense. From his own end zone, short again to McKissick, and works his way for a first down.
That's a really nice job by J.D. McKissick, just getting around Tremaine Edmonds to get that first down, because he's coming up on you. You're in the open field. I think the advantage obviously goes to J.D. McKissick in that situation, but it's a great job. Just make that little wiggle, get north and south, get that first down, get off your goal line.
Room for Heineke to run. Slides across the 21-22-yard line. He's a little bit short of a first down. Just over 13 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. Heineke was officially sacked by the Bills defense. That's the only sack in this game for either team. Gibson the back. On 2nd and 3. Take to him and batted down. I think the offensive went back to Heineke.
Heineke to Heineke.
And that sounds, I'll drink to that. Who batted it? I couldn't quite see. Was that
Tremaine Edmonds?
Tremaine Edmonds.
And it's just so hard, why didn't he just knock it down? Really? I mean, it's a bang-bang play. I'm going to catch it.
Right, so that nobody else catches it. Heineke alertly all over that. On 3rd and 5 now. Just trying to pick up some chunks of yardage and move it downfield. Can he get out of this? He's got a blocker in front of him. He runs away from him, but dives to get the first down.
Oh, I don't like that spot.
No, that's a bad spot.
Yeah, because he dove. He went head first that time.
Yeah, they should look at this. Although they missed the challenge early, did Ron Rivera. A spot question.
Let's see where he comes down right here. Boy, I think he's a heck of a lot closer to that yard line.
Well, is it worth a challenge at this point? But every little bit matters.
I don't know if I want to give it back to Josh Allen right now.
Well, if he is that short, I think Washington's got to go for it. It's the knee and the ball, right, Darryl? Is that what we're looking for?
That knee, you know what? That right knee is on the ground because he is so low to the ground that right knee hits the ground. I thought it carried a little bit further, so they absolutely could be right with where that ball is spotted. I did not realize that right knee touched when it did.
No, it was that close on the measurement.
But just watch this right
Number
knee.
71 has reported as eligible.
Right there, it's down.
So the official got it right. So the dirt kick up. Wes Schweitzer comes in as an extra lineman, and they are going for it. He keeps, and he's shoved backward. Matt Milano just tossed him back. There's a signature move by the Bills defense. They've been all over it today.
Yeah, great job by the guys inside. There's not going to be any movement at all. The Bills defensive line controls the line of scrimmage. They knock Washington backwards. Taylor Heineke has nowhere to go, tries to slide outside and runs right into Matt Milano. That guy's a playmaker. And he just seems to be in the right spot at the right time all the time.
Yeah, him and Tremaine Edmonds, that secondary with the two safeties, Hyde and Poyer, each have an interception. Tre'Davious White, and then the guys up front. Allen to throw. Dawson Knox with a first and goal inside the 5. Well,
you're just going to get the movement from your linebackers right here on this play action. You know, pulls them up. And there goes Dawson Knox right in behind.
Look at the numbers on Josh Allen. Singletary still not down. Eventually he is, as the clock continues to run under 11 minutes. On a second down goal for Singletary. 11 attempts on the ground so far. Unlike last week, but unable to break it loose. Allen. He can run that in, and he will walk that in. Touchdown, Buffalo Bills. Four by air, one by land. 5 total touchdowns for Josh Allen today.
And we've seen all afternoon when Josh Allen has gotten outside, he's actually pressed the edges and then thrown passes to his receivers. This time, watch a little pump fake. He pulls it up. That freezes everybody, and then he just steps in.
Again, he hadn't had to run a whole lot today. Just moving around behind the line of scrimmage. This time he tips it in. Thanking the guys who helped him reach the end zone. While the Bills celebrate, the frustration continues for Washington. Just starting his 4th NFL season, Josh Allen has run for 26 touchdowns. When you look at the most by a quarterback in a 4-year span in the history of the league, Cam Newton, certainly a guy that Josh Allen can reach before things wrap up. To go with his 4 touchdown passes, 2 to Emmanuel Sanders, 1 to Dawson Knox, and 1 to Zach Moss. After it was 21-14, the Bills have taken off. Tyler pass, drives it deep. And then they come out to the 25-yard line, and 3 takeaways by this Bills defense. The assistant head coach, former head coach, defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier.
Yeah, and all you heard about was how excited everybody was for that defensive game plan for Miami. A little bit more pressure, doing some things, generated some sacks. This week it's been a little bit different. So nice game plan by Leslie Frazier again here today. And I think it's a great dynamic that he and Sean McDermott share, because we talk about this all the time. When you hire a new head coach, whether he's on the offensive side of the ball as a play caller or a defensive side of the ball calling the defense, you want him to stay involved in that role. And Sean wants to be more of an overall head coach. So, you know, this is really kind of Leslie's defense. He weighs in from time to time, some weeks more than others, but he's got to be involved in all three phases.
Antonio Gibson carries. Yeah, because we think of offensive head coaches when we say that, like a Sean Payton who wants to call the plays even though he's the head coach. So, and Sean said to us, he said, I really wanted to make sure, and players noticed that. Yeah, I'm defensive oriented in my background, but I want to be a head coach. And so let somebody else call the defense. I trust Leslie Frazier. Obviously, at Brian Dable on offense, I'll be the head coach, and it's been effective because he's led the Bills to the playoffs in 3 of his 4 seasons, and they look like a playoff team today.
Ready, set.
Gibson again fighting hard to get a first down for Washington.
It's going to be fun to see how Washington, you know, progresses after this. You know, we mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast about this being a response-driven league, and this was a tough one for them. You know, they've gotten through the first 2 weeks, and you know, there's been a lot of positives. There's going to be hard to find that when they're watching that film. It's going to be hard for Ron Rivera to find those positives, but they've got to continue to build, and I think that this is just kind of a reset for them, right? You know, let's not forget we were 7-9 as division champs last year. It was an opportunistic, situation for us, and we took advantage of it. But they're in the process of trying to get where Buffalo is now in year 2 of Ron Rivera's tenure.
Yeah, and they're playing a first-place schedule this year, despite being 7-9. Of course, as division winners. We have a timeout here in Buffalo. Talked about the brutal schedule for the look at they played the 4 teams that were in the AFC and NFC championship games last year. That's what lies ahead for Ron Rivera and this Washington team after saying this was a test. Obviously the Bills, one of those teams. Ball's loose and out it. Heineke recovers.
There's just some of those fundamental things, right? You're timing a motion coming across formation, and you don't time it up right, and you snap it right into the motion guy.
Yeah,
DeAndre Carter going across, there's the snap, hits the guy in motion. I mean, those are the things that will make Ron Rivera crazy.
Sure. Fans of Washington, WFT, are saying WTF, you know, between our growth period and our schedule. Come on now. Let's do what we can to hang in there. Heineke. Complete. Cam Sims up across midfield. Time for a game break. Let's check it again with Kurt Menefee.
As you guys get late in the 4th quarter, just a reminder that America's Game of the Week comes up when you are done as Matthew Stafford and the unbeaten Rams take on champion Tom Brady and the unbeaten Buccaneers. It should be a good one. America's Game of the Week at the conclusion of your contest there in Buffalo. Chris?
All right, thanks, Kurt. Well, you see how fired up Brady is. I mean, I think he's going to play till he's 50. I think he physically can. I think he mentally, with his family, if he wants to.
What, 9 touchdowns for the first time in his career? I mean, 44 to start the season in the first 2 games. It's just every year when we're like, well, is this going to be the last one? He does stuff that are like, well, no, he should probably come back and play one more year.
And his situation set up with kind of talent around him. I think Antonio Brown is not going to play today in that game against the Rams coming up on Fox. But where he is with the kind of coaching staff and players around him, and as healthy as he is mentally and physically, no knee brace for the first time in years. Here's Heineke with plenty of time, and it's deflected as he was trying to flip it to Antonio Gibson. So whatever Washington does, looks like we have a flag down back at the 35. The NFC East, as we know, is not the strongest division. So
illegal contact, defense, number 21. 5-yard penalty, an automatic first down.
Calls on Jordan Poyer. You know, you got Dallas and Philadelphia playing on Monday night. Washington just won against a division opponent a week ago Thursday.
Not as strong as, or not as bad as it was last year. Last year, you know, I'm not going to sit here and argue. You know, played in that division for years.
Dak Prescott makes a difference for Dallas.
Well, but that wasn't the case. You know, the division champion had a losing record. So this year it's going to be much harder on Washington because Dak Prescott is healthy. Dallas's defense is far superior to where they were last year. Philadelphia is much further ahead than I thought they would be, the way they've looked the first 2 weeks. And the Giants should have beaten Washington in week 2.
Giants tied with Atlanta at the moment. Catch made. And moving downfield, McLaurin, who's got speed. Inside the 10, it'll be first and goal for Washington. Getting the ball to his best playmaker. 4th catch of the game for Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, coming in from the outside, some soft coverage right there. Nice catch and run. And then just some poor tackling right here by Buffalo in the secondary.
Looks like we have Jordan Poyer is injured on his knees, slow to get up at the 20-yard line. But a 37-yard pickup by McLaurin.
And that's just, one of those things that you really stress over as a head coach. 7:13 to go, 43-14, and you see one of your key guys go down in the secondary. Jordan Poyer, very important to the back end of that defense. Hopefully he's okay.
Jaquan Johnson will come in at that safety spot. In trouble, gets away, throws, end zone, and catch made. Was it out of bounds?
They're huddling up. You've got the 2 officials huddling up, incomplete.
Okay, so if he did hold on, it was out of bounds. Yeah, there were 2 Washington receivers over there. I think he was just trying to make something happen here.
Yeah, again, the drop back passes today when Taylor Heineke, there's, out of bounds. Terry McLaurin couldn't get that second leg down.
But he held on. That was amazing.
But in the pocket, throwing from the pocket on a design pass, they just have not won on the outside. There's really been nowhere for him to go. And then he's got to extend and move and try and create. But they just haven't been able to get the ball thrown on time from a standard drop back pass situation.
McLaurin looks to be one-on-one top of your screen. Instead, it's a run to Gibson, and he doesn't get far. It'll be 3rd and goal. Yeah, the Bills in the first couple of games only allowed an average of 73 yards each game on the ground. And I think Washington is just right about at that mark.
Yeah, this defense is going to be hunkering down. I mean, they pitched a shutout last week. They kept Pittsburgh scoreless in the first half. The points today came off a 73-yard catch and run by Antonio Gibson, and then that special teams miscue gave Washington great field position for the second one.
Heineke has run for a score, and they have to again. It's open there on the run. He'll keep. Going to do that same pylon move. He's knocked down. Johnson, who came in for Poyer, made sure that Heineke didn't reach the pylon.
Well, we've talked about durability being the one thing, and I love the passion for the game, but in that situation you could see Taylor Heineke get caught kind of between a rock and a hard place. It looked like he wanted to slide, but he didn't know if he should slide, and all of a sudden you take that big hit. That's one of the things that can help him. I know he's put some body weight on and made himself a little bit more durable, but you want to minimize those hits like he just took on that last play.
4th down for the end zone, and catch made. What a grab by Logan Thomas for a Washington football touchdown. There's your WFT. Washington football team touchdown. That's a good catch.
It was a great catch. And you know what? It's one of the reasons why all the guys on the team like Taylor Heineke, especially the guys on the offensive side of the ball, because he's going to give them a shot, right? Just give me a shot. I'm in one-on-one in the end zone. I've got a guy who's a little bit smaller than me. I've got good position. Just throw it up and let me go see if I can make a play. And he does that.
Against a good one in Micah Hyde, who
that's a heck of a catch.
We got both of the tight ends. We saw Dawson Knox make a theatrical catch in the first half for Buffalo. And some spectacular plays. Talked about Antonio Gibson making his move to reach the pylon. Even Heineke in his first touchdown run. So at least Heineke gets Washington some respectability here with Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers, and if you're a Buffalo fan, you're enjoying this. But if you're an NFL fan, you're thinking, hey, this team was close to a Super Bowl last year before they ran into the Chiefs in the championship game, and all that talk coming into the year. They're certainly looking like it. I know the opponent, but Washington's defense is pretty good. How do you gauge, and I asked you when we started this, a 2-game, now it'll be a 3-game gauge on the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, huge step across the board. All 3 phases did a really nice job today. That little kickoff situation, you'll get that one figured out. But I think the big thing is who's the top dog in the AFC? Kansas City Chiefs. Why didn't they win the Super Bowl last year? Because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers put a tremendous amount of pressure on them. So what does Buffalo do this year? We got to get better rushing the pass. We got to get some better edge production there and get after the quarterback a little bit. So they put some key pieces in place. They're starting to come together. But I think right now what you can do is everybody can kind of take a big sigh of relief and relax, because the execution, the rhythm, everything that was a situation that you thought might be there on the offense, I think that Josh Allen has put that to rest, and we've got Mitchell Trubisky getting ready to take some snaps here, so that shows you where they're at this afternoon.
Final numbers on Allen: 32, 43, 358 yards and 4 touchdowns. And if you weren't watching with us the entire game, he really so well moving behind that, and that offensive line deserves some credit here. Diving catch by Emmanuel Sanders, the first of 2. This was Zach Moss taking one into the end zone. Dawson Knox, his tight end, he was spreading the ball around.
Yeah, guys making plays on the outside. He was throwing from the pocket. He was extending the play, getting outside the pocket. And this is where he really kind of creates just chaos for defenses, is him on the move coming towards the goal line. What do you do? There's not a good decision there.
Trubisky with the handoff to Moss. Back-to-back strong games for the second-year player from Utah. 3rd career game with 5 total touchdowns. And the last one kind of rolling into the end zone. And the connection between he and his offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, and head coach Sean McDermott. And this offense continues as Trubisky, interesting signing to put behind him. Those feel very good about having him as the backup to Josh Allen, former Chicago Bear who did go to a Pro Bowl. Moss staying in bounds, finding running room, and getting the first down.
I think one of the big things that Buffalo is going to be able to take away from this game is after week 1 with Pittsburgh, they had a nice bounce back against Miami. They've run the ball well. The run blocking wasn't the issue, but I think there may have been some concern about how good are we going to be in the offensive line against an elite defensive line. Now, Washington is considered to have an elite defensive line based on last year's production and hasn't been there this year. But hats off to those guys up front on that offensive line for the Buffalo Bills, because they did an outstanding job today of keeping that pocket clean. Open up some running lanes. It affords Brian Daboll the opportunity to be very creative in his game plan.
Helping Zach Moss makes a difference. And we mentioned that Emmanuel Sanders, they added Cole Beasley and then Stephon Diggs for Josh Allen. And there's Sanders, and it was interesting because Sean McDermott told us, he said we wanted to add we didn't have that crusty leader with Super Bowl experience, so we wanted to add that kind of guy. So the leadership didn't all fall on Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen on the offensive side, Tremaine Edmonds on the defensive guys, still younger, right? So you need some of those been there, done that guys, from other places that have been in Super Bowls and won Super Bowls and had the experiences that they can share with a young team.
Trubisky to throw. Tommy Sweeney on the receiving end. And that's Landon Collins making the play for Washington.
I think it's going to be interesting to see, what this Washington team does moving forward. It's continually disappointing in that defensive line. I mean, there were games last year where they could just take things over, and we just haven't seen that yet this year. And there has been opportunities. They've gone up against some offensive lines that have had some question marks with how good are they going to be here in the early part of the season, and they have not been able to create the kind of havoc that they did last year for the opposition.
Chase Young frustrated. Trubisky can do this. And he slides, stays in bounds wisely, first down. You see player showing support. Well, he's a guy happy to be here and out of Chicago, even given the situation that he's not the starting quarterback. You get a smile from Josh Allen, and nearing the 2-minute warning.
Well, every once in a while, a guy needs a new start. Mitchell Trubisky's going to get his second act here in Buffalo.
And he can learn a few things from Josh Allen. We've reached the 2-minute warning. The Bills are on their way to another victory behind the smiling Josh Allen. The Bills defense with 3 takeaways and an outstanding performance from Josh Allen and his supporting crew. And the Bills and their fans, a little scary for the opposition. Washington will fall to 1-2. Bills outscoring their opponents 78-21 in the last 2 games of the 5 total touchdowns from Josh Allen. By the way, the Giants lost in the NFC East, so Washington will go to 1-2, and then the winner of the Monday night game, assuming Philly or Dallas they don't tie, would lead the NFC East. And for the Bills and their schedule, they'll have the Texans up next at home.
They're getting good in those key situational areas during the course of the game. You saw the 3 takeaways today, only 3 the first 2 weeks. So they're generating takeaways. They're getting better in the red zone.
That'll be a good one at Kansas City. Rematch of the championship game. Sean McDermott's team on a roll now. And when you think of the starting quarterbacks in the AFC East, Josh Allen at age 25, when Tua was healthy, was the Dolphin starter. He was the elder statesman of quarterbacks in the AFC East. All right, following us, the State Farm game break. And then America's Game of the Week with a battle of 2-0 teams. Early showdown. That could be an NFC Championship game with the Bucs and the Rams. Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady squaring off. Snap here as the clock will wind down. Good atmosphere, fall football in Western New York. Frustrating day for Washington football fans and the team, but Sean McDermott and his Bills back on track to where they left off last year. Last couple of games, they have found their groove. Former coaching colleagues in Carolina and